Joining me now with more on this is Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Tom Cotton. Senator, good to have you on the program. I want to start with this breaking news from the president slapping these 10% tariffs on a number of countries, including Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland starting February 1st over this push to take Greenland. There's been a lot of criticism from the left about this. That we could put bases on Greenland. We don't have to go in and actually take it. We could do this without driving away our allies. I want to play a soundbite from you from Rahm Emanuel on why this doesn't make sense to at least the left. Watch.
It's creating division with our allies when we need our allies focused with us on how to actually cripple and weaken the Iranian regime. And the consequences of actions like this, of turning our allies away, is on our front doorstep. I think President Trump is, and even Republicans are finally finding the courage to speak up and realize how strategically, financially, and commercially this is the dumbest thing ever seen.
So we'll have you respond to that. Is this going to weaken our relationship with our allies?
Well, first off, Aisha, it's good to see you and good to be on with you, and congratulations on your new show. The president is right that Greenland is vital for the national security interest of the United States, and therefore vital that the United States have a closer relationship with Greenland to NATO's security interest as well. American presidents have realized this for decades, starting with at least Harry Truman, a Democrat himself. Greenland, along with Iceland and the United Kingdom, control the gap through which the Russian Navy has to move from the Arctic Ocean to the North Atlantic. Greenland is critical to missile defenses. Any attack from Russia or China would come, at least in part, over the North Pole. Greenland also has large deposits of rare earth elements, which China currently uses as leverage against the United States and our allies. So I don't think anyone questions that a closer relationship between the United States and Greenland is in everyone's mutual interest. Frankly, the best solution probably would be to acquire Greenland from Denmark. We have a long history in our country of doing so. Obviously, the Louisiana Purchase or the purchase of Alaska. We've even done it with Denmark. What we know as the Virgin Islands used to be the Danish West Indies. Short of that, we do have a treaty with Denmark from 1951 that gives us widespread access to Greenland. We need to immediately start moving forward on either front, though, to start achieving that effect. The president's post this morning mentioned the Golden Dome. Again, a lot of this gets back to missile defense and early warning systems. And he doesn't want to waste a minute. He knows he only has 3 years left in office. He wants to get this new missile defense system in place. That means we've got to start moving. That means we've got to have access to Greenland.
Okay. I want to talk about Iran, too, because the Ayatollah has been on a Twitter tirade. I guess it's called X now, but he's been very busy on his cell phone this morning tweeting about President Trump. And he wrote part of this. He says this: "We find the U.S. president guilty due to the casualties, damages, and slander he inflicted upon the Iranian nation." And then he goes on to say the recent sedition was orchestrated by the U.S. The U.S. did the planning and took action. The U.S.'s goal is to devour Iran. I bring these posts up because the president says that he sort of convinced himself to back off Iran, not to strike Iran, at least for now, because they have assured him that they're not going to execute some 800 protesters that were apparently scheduled to be executed this week. Can the president, can the U.S. trust what this regime and what the Ayatollah is telling us?
No, of course not, Aisha. And boy, I don't know if I was the Ayatollahs, I'm not sure I'd be poking the bear with Donald Trump. Remember, this is the man that killed their terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani, in 2020. Blew up their nuclear program last year. There's a reason why the Ayatollahs tried to assassinate Donald Trump in 2024. Something tells me that he hasn't forgotten that, nor should he, because it's not just him. They've got the blood of hundreds of Americans on their hands over the years. And I don't think we're anywhere near the end of these protests. They may have diminished some in recent days as the regime began to kill its own people. But if you recall, the Islamic Revolution in Iran is often dated to 1979. But it was preceded by a year of protests throughout 1978, and the Ayatollahs can't address the grievances of their people. One, the illegitimate repressive regime that they've imposed on them for 47 years, but two, the fact that their currency is now not worth the paper it's printed on. People can't afford anything inside of Iran. So I think we're very much still in the beginning chapters of the story, not at the end of it.
You know, the president's still preparing anyway for strikes. We've seen a lot of strategic moves in the area, in the region, sending our assets there, bolstering our defenses of our troops in the region, as well as Israel. But the Wall Street Journal this week reported that the president was told an attack on Iran would not guarantee the collapse of the regime. What are our options on Iran? Let's say they have lied to us and these protesters are killed and the president wants to do something.
Well, Aisha, our military is always planning multiple options related to Iran, given the threats that have emanated from there for years. That should not be a surprise. We're taking prudent steps right now, as you just mentioned, to give the president multiple options as well. Now, it's true that this would not be like a strike on their nuclear program or the raid to apprehend Nicolas Maduro, that this might be more wide-ranging. But ultimately, what we want to do is put maximum pressure on the Ayatollahs and minimize civilian casualties inside Iran as much as possible. And we have a whole array of menus, not just military, to do that.
Okay, we'll wait and watch and see what the commander-in-chief does. If anything, in the next couple of days, you never know. And sometimes it happens on weekends. Chairman Tom Cotton with us today live. Thank you very much for joining us. Great to have your insight.
Thank you, Aisha.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.